Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Up Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Happy Monday. How are we doing? One of you guys called me out last week and said, you didn't say happy Monday. And honestly, thank you for that. Sometimes you just need to be called out. I don't know what just got into me. Honestly, it was probably because I was recording on not a Monday, which is usually what I do. So sometimes I'm not like in my head thinking it's Monday. Anyways, if you're watching on YouTube, hair is out. Hello, this is probably going to distract me quite a bit, but the natural hair has come out of hiding. It is spring, summer. And when it's spring, summer, we let the hair really flourish. Kind of bringing it into today's topic of the episode, which is real health and healing tips to help you with your physical glow up. Okay, so the other day I was just thinking, I have a lot of things that I have learned throughout my 20s that have really helped me flourish and glow up physically. Now, you guys know the glow up starts from within. I wrote a book, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide, which really, really brings you to that journey. So I will definitely be bringing you guys back to that and the story that I've kind of been through, but I would definitely suggest that this is like your go-to internal healing glow up journey type of resource. But I do want to talk about some of the things that I have learned that I think are real health tips, real tips that I think will bring you a long way when it comes to changing physically. Now, I quickly want to show on YouTube, if you are listening audio, maybe you want to come to YouTube if you've never seen, but I just want to post maybe a few photos of how my skin was at one point in my life, many points in my life, but I had really, really bad breakouts. I was undernourished, and then I've been overweight for sure in my life, like mainly in like my high school year when I had a hyperactive thyroid, and then I went on medication, but then I still had the same eating patterns, and then I just stored a lot of fat, things of that nature, whatever. I basically just didn't have the body that I do now. And also my hair did not look the way that it looks right now on camera. It looked it was very dead and very brittle and all these things. So I've had an evolution of glowing up physically in many aspects. So I just want to share some tips when it comes to skin, body, and hair. But I definitely want to touch on health tips, and then obviously some things that I think are very helpful and that have really helped me be able to actually grow out my hair and clear my skin and get the body that I think is the body of my dreams, and actually throughout all of this, like really love myself. So we're going to dive into a lot of things. This is probably going to be a long episode. I'm going to try and do my best to compartmentalize some of these things. So we're going to talk about skin first, but the first things that we're going to be talking about when it comes to skin is the biopsychosocial model, and this is going to be important for you to think about in every aspect of your health. So you can really think about this when it comes to your body, your hair, your everything. So I had hormonal acne, I had gut health issues, I just had many breakouts through specific periods of my life, and I have learned throughout my years what was causing that. And I think it's such a struggle for sure because there's so much information online, and one person over here is saying it's your gut health, so take these probiotics or take these vitamins, or it's the products that you're using, or there's a million things. And so I have really gone through a journey of educating myself and figuring out what is the cause for all these things. And I think the biopsychosocial model really encompasses the way that I view health holistically and what I've actually learned on my journey and how I actually healed and got clear skin without going on Accutane, without being on birth control, without doing any sort of supplements, even skincare. I talk about skincare sometimes and I show you guys what I do even on my main channel, but none of the skincare that I have used had ever changed my acne or anything like that. It makes my skin glowing now and that, but it wasn't that. It was more internal thing. So I want to quickly explain what the biopsychosocial model is, because I think it will really help you understand what might be playing a role in your skin issues or maybe even hair issues, like body weight, things of that nature. But I do definitely think skin in general. And then I'm going to kind of give you my personal story. But again, if you really want to understand my story, I literally lay it all out in my book. That is what my book is about. So I'm on Physiopedia. I'm going to actually have a link to this article and a few other ones for you guys because I'm not going to be able to like go into everything. And by the way, this is just my personal experience. This is my journey. This is what I've learned over the years. I used to be into health and wellness at a time where I feel like not a lot of people were. Like I feel like 2016 and 2017 was really the years that I got really into learning about diets and holistic health and all these things. So I've had evolutions and health issues and many, many things. That's my life journey, okay? So I don't know. I just say that because that's just kind of like, oh, what are your credentials to be talking about it? That's just what it is. I'm not a doctor. You can go, obviously. Anyways, whatever. I think you guys are going to relate. So the biopsychosocial model was first conceptualized by George Eagle in 1977, suggesting that to understand a person's medical condition, it is not simply the biological factors to consider, but also the psychological and social factors. So let's break down biopsychosocial. So bio, it is a physiological pathology. So when you think of bio, it's biology, it's your genes, it's your genetic makeup. It's what everyone always says, oh, it just runs in my family, it's my genes, it's this, that. There's no denying that we all are genetically predispositioned, to have certain things that are running in our families. What I have learned through epigenetics, which that's a whole sub thing that we're not going to get into. You can Google it, you can learn about it. What actually, you know what? I'm going to explain what the other ones are and then I'm going to tie it back to that. So the next one is psycho. So what that is thoughts, emotions, and behaviors such as psychological distress, fear and avoidant beliefs, current coping methods, and attribution. So just think about your mental health essentially. Like, are you a stressed out person? Are you worried all the time? Do you have anxiety? Like all of these things, right? Your mental health. And social. So this is socioeconomical, socio-environmental, and cultural factors such as work issues, family circumstances, and benefits, and economics. So understanding that it's not only just maybe your hormone, like if your hormones, let's say for example, are not balanced, there is a reason. Maybe yes, I don't know, like your biology is just maybe you don't produce enough of this or that, or you had something running in your family and then you got it as well. But the environment that you live in and the thoughts that you're thinking and your mental health and your habits play in a very, very huge role of whether or not your body is going to be functioning biologically in a healthy way. And I will give you a quick example, but again, I talk about this in my book. Ulcerative colitis runs in my family for sure. It just does. And it's called IBD. If you guys don't know, it's different than IBS. It's inflammation in the body and it's an autoimmune disease essentially. So that's like what runs in my family. Some people, like there's different genes, this, that. Now, some people in my family don't have that. What I have learned throughout my years is depending on the life circumstance that I was living, the stressful environment that I was in, triggered my genetic predisposition to turn on genes that would allow me to have something such as an autoimmune disease where my body starts breaking down. Why? Because when you are in a very stressful environment, you are literally on a biological level releasing cortisol, you're releasing adrenaline, you're releasing all of these hormones that might not be helpful for your body to stay in homeostasis. There are a lot of contributing factors outside of what's just happening in here. And I think a lot of the times, naturally, because this is what we're taught, like the doctors are like, oh, there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like, this is just like what your body is doing. Okay, but how is your mental health? What is the environment that you're living in? What are your habits? Who are you around? How is your social circles? Are you stressed about finances? Are you stressed about your future or your life? All of these play a huge part in your biological health. When your outside environment is stressful, your body's going to go into fight or flight. It's going to act as if it needs to fight or flight or flee. And when that happens, your body is no longer producing the right amount of hormones, the right amount of everything to keep your body at bay, in balance. And that is when we have a lot of disease that start to come online. And it has been there is so much research on that. I'm going to give you guys some resources at the end of this episode, but it's I think most people are waking up to the fact that it's not it's deeper. You got to go to the root of what is going on in your body. Now, I will say, even when it came to ulcerative colitis, I'm not trying to beg on going to the doctor or not trying certain modalities. I understand that people have to go on birth control. Some people have to go on Accutane. Some people have to do certain things to help your body get at bay, essentially. But I think it's really, really important for you to address the psychosocial components of your lifestyle, as even if you are on medication. And that is what I learned to do. When I had flare-ups, I couldn't just decide to be super holistic and be like, oh, I'm just going to heal myself naturally, because you know what? The thing that kind of sucks, but not really, because this is normal, about healing holistically and working in your social environment and not stressing about life or finances or things like that, it takes time. So as you are changing your lifestyle and, really reducing stress in all areas of your life, you might need that support from medication, especially when you're talking about autoimmune diseases and things like that. When I had flare-ups, I literally had to be on steroids so that it could reduce the inflammation in my body, so I stopped bleeding. It's no joke. So I'm not here to be just heal from your thoughts and change your mindset about the scarcity mindset and stuff like that. I've been through all of that, and it's way deeper than that, but it's not. This is what I'm going to say. If you just go on medication, you're probably going to find down the road that things will come back, or your body will show you different signs of illness in different ways, things like that. So I have just learned over the years to really focus on the things that have stressed me out in my life, which have completely impacted my health. So I'll give you my example, especially when I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I learned about gut health. I learned about diet. I learned about healthy habits and stuff like that. But I was internally very, very stressed. I lived in an environment at that point when I actually got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I was literally living in a trap house with drug addicts everywhere, everywhere. Okay. I wasn't one, but unfortunately, that's where I was living. So that you could only imagine the high stress. On top of that, I was financially very, very, very stressed. I was also stressed about my health because I was like, oh my God, am I gonna die? And also I was going to school. I was trying to sleep. I was trying to do all these healthy habits, and I couldn't because my environment was so stressful. And so I had to obviously take on a lot of responsibility when it came to really focusing on my mindset and getting myself out of this situation. But also throughout that situation, I had to go on medication. I had to do all these things. I really had to take my time with getting myself out of this situation. And because I had ulcerative colitis and I was very, very stressed, my gut health wasn't good. I also had my eating disorder was also very much so alive around that time as well. There was a lot of stress going on in my body. And so my gut health wasn't good. I was literally there was inflammation in my body. I had an autoimmune disease, and I was also then having skin issues. And when I got a medication and really started to take a look at my life and my environment and see, whoa, all of these things are really creating a lot of stress within me. And that took me many years to heal my nervous system and regulate all that kind of stuff and tap into my emotions, all that kind of stuff. But as I worked on the internal, meaning my mindset, also the environment, and obviously taking medication and things that I needed to do, all of my skin issues went away. And I want to quickly just list off a few main things that I think are helpful. And maybe if you are, again, my situation is much different than yours. I'm not saying it's your environment, but oh my God, there's so many things that stress us out in life. But my first thing was for sure was changing my mindset on my life circumstance. And again, I really, really go on that in my book, but I had to change the way that I was perceiving these threats, real threats in my life, so that I could be calm and be able to think clearly to be able to get myself out of these situations. So I woke up in the morning and I had a journal practice. I was being grateful for the things that I could be grateful for, even in a time where literally it was like a complete mess. Like I really, really worked on my mental health more than anything, because I just realized no amount of vitamins, no amount of diet was helping me, was fixing me. If anything, it was stressing me out more, trying to put myself under this stressful diet and regimen when literally my life was like falling apart. So I really had to work on changing my mindset around my life circumstance. And I had like two options. I could either sink or swim. I could either go in the direction of everyone that was around me in my life, or I could completely transform my life. Thankfully, I did, because that's just who I am as a person, and everything else followed that. So the next thing I would say, like, a few years later for sure, is I learned about emotional releasing and tapping into my emotions and inner child healing and trauma healing, and understanding that, you know, a lot of the stressors and the ways that I was coping in life was actually like way deeper than even the circumstance that was given to me around that time, where like I was in a really bad environment. And really doing that deep healing work really allowed my body to fully just regulate, like my nervous system to regulate. I was on fight or flight since I was a freaking young toddler. I was in fight or flight when I was around my father that was stressing me out all the time. I was afraid of him all the time. We lived in a life where it was hardship. It was just stressful. And I learned ways to cope with that. Again, I talk about it in my book. So really doing that healing work and, you know, inner child healing, like I didn't even go to a lot of therapy actually when I started doing all this stuff. So I'm just going to say that quickly, because I know a lot of people can't do therapy and this, that, but I did that without it. And it really, really helped me just be more at peace with my life. And also that led me into self-love and acceptance, which was a really big part of my glow up journey, because when I started to learn to accept myself and love myself and stop being such a perfectionist, I stopped going to these strict diets, and I stopped hating on my body, and I stopped stressing so much about the end game and the timeline. And even as my body was healing, like I gave myself the time it needed to heal, which allowed like everything to balance out. It helped my nervous system regulate. It helped my hormones balance. It helped my gut health get back to where it needed to be, because I wasn't binge eating and I wasn't strictly like dieting and all of these things. I just supported myself in very beautiful, normal habits that we all could be doing. And all of those things really started to show me, oh, my skin is healing. My ulcerative colitis is at bay. I stopped having flare-ups to the point where I chose to get off medication after a few years of not having flare-ups. At that point, I was educated enough and understanding enough of what is the root cause of chronic illness and what was really going on, and you know, educating myself on the nervous system. And I like really had a lot of faith in myself that I was able to kind of, well, not heal. I was already kind of healed, but to go off of medication and things like that. And I was confident in the healthy habits, which was just normal healthy habits, like not having an eating disorder and sleeping right and being away from toxic environments, and changing the way that I was stressing about money. Like very simple, takes a while, but simple things that don't require these medications and, you know, fad diets and stuff. I realized that no, I don't need to be on this medication, and I haven't been on medication in I don't even know how many years. I guess I got off of medication in 2020, but at that point I hadn't had a flare up in a few years. So it's been a very long time. And a lot of people will say like, oh, like, you have to be on medication for the rest of your life. I don't believe that, but that's just my own personal opinion. So all of those directly impacted my gut health and my stress levels, which obviously impacted my skin health. My skin cleared up. Okay. So I just kind of wanted to say that, because I think it's very, very important when you have health issues that you go to the root and you understand what is going on. And there is more than one thing. It's more than just, oh, dairy is the thing that's inflaming me. I promise you, it's not just dairy that's doing it for you. And maybe it is if every single thing, like every other area of your life is like really, really good, maybe. But then it's also like, just get some grass-fed milk and you'll probably be fine. But, obviously everything in moderation, everything, whatever. That's just my personal beliefs. I just want to say, like, that was a very big journey for me in my life. It took many years for me to understand the, even like education behind this biopsychosocial model and how it's never just one thing. Like, you have to look at yourself and your health very holistically. Like, all your systems are connected, but also it took me a while to change my mindset to be able to get out of the environment that I was in. It took me a while to emotionally release and heal trauma, like all that kind of stuff. It takes a while. So I just think like the big takeaway when it comes to this like model that I'm talking about is give yourself time and love yourself through this process. And, you can have a lot of change in your life, but I think that in this day and age, we are looking for the quickest fix, and sometimes we need that and sometimes we want that. And I'm not trying to bag on that, because I've been in the worst health I've ever been many, many times in my life. And all I needed was just that one thing that was going to change it. But after having so many diagnoses and all of these things, by the way, like my nerve pain was definitely a huge part of my nervous system regulation and stuff like that too, which again, I talk about in my book. I've had a lot of different ailments to the point where it was just no denying that I had to go deeper. There was just no denying it. Now, it might not be as extreme as it was for me, for you. Obviously, everyone is different, but for me, that was my journey. I had a hyperactive thyroid. I had ulcerative colitis. I had a really bad, unhealthy eating disorder, and I had nerve pain in my hands for 2 years, and I had no idea what it was. I thought we thought it was carpal tunnel. It was not carpal tunnel. I was going to get a surgery. I did every single test under the sun. I did medications. I did physio, chiro, acupuncture, massage therapy. I did every single thing you could possibly imagine. And I came to the very big realization that it was a mind-body connection. It was my body being in fight or flight for so many years, and I needed to release those emotions and really deeply heal. So again, all of that's in my book. So if you really are feeling resonated to anything that I just said, please go check that out. It'll be linked down below. So with skin though, I'm going to talk about a few things that I think are helpful and that I have done, other than obviously going to that route. Because obviously, like, you can just, like, there's products I'm sure that might help, or different habits and stuff that you can do. So I'm going to just talk about a few things. So I think for sure one thing that really, really helped me though, like, understand my skin issues, although it was a combination of everything. I do think, it's always really a combination of everything, is cycle syncing, because I for sure at some points did have hormonal acne, but I did have a lot of acne when it came to like gut health, and it's very apparent just the way, like, where the acne was on my face. But I did for sure have hormonal acne as well. So I think when it comes to hormonal acne, everyone is different, but cycle syncing, understanding your cycle, is very, very important. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when you know what phase you're in, you can support yourself in better ways, which will then signal to the body to rest and digest and like work better and not produce so much estrogen or so much testosterone or whatever. I said that wrong. Whatever. I'm not even going to say it again. Whatever. You guys know that I say things wrong sometimes. But educating yourself on your cycle, I think it's very, very important. And I think that when I moved away from having any sort of like gut health issues and I really healed a lot, I think the last skin issue that I was having was a little bit of like hormonal acne around my period, but I don't even get that anymore. I recently actually did break out, but I was using retinol. Like, I already know that it was definitely retinol because where it was, but regardless, like, I really don't. I think my hormones are very much so balanced, but it took a while. So I have a few episodes and like on my main channel about cycle syncing, so I'm not going to dive into it, but I just think when you know that you're about to get on your period, for you to support yourself with more sleep, with more rest, with lighter exercise, that really signals to the body to move from fight or flight to rest and digest, which will allow you to not produce so many hormones that might be breaking you out and things like that, especially when it comes to eating and even when it comes to productivity and working. Like, the main thing I'm trying to tell you guys is stress is the number one cause of so much. We don't even understand, or maybe you do if you've educated yourself enough, but stress is really the root of so much. So whatever I can do in my life to reduce stress, I'm going to do it. And every single week is different. And especially if you are a woman and you're menstruating, like your body needs different things at certain times. There's actually a quote that I want to read from Pinterest that was, I don't know, I just think it's really beautiful. And I think this is maybe just a reminder for all of us, but it says, "You are not a machine. You are more like a garden. You need different things on different days. A little sun today, a little less water tomorrow. You have fallow and fruitful seasons. It is not a design flaw. It is a wiser than perpetual sameness. What does your garden need today?" And I think that after going through everything that I went through when it came to my health issues, I really understood that I am such a cyclical being, and the healthiest, the reason why I'm the healthiest I've ever been is because I look at myself like not a machine. I dropped the perfectionist mindset of like trying to implement the same thing over and over every single day of my life, and like never changing and never accepting myself for the seasons of life that I'm in, and understanding that my body sometimes needs a little bit more rest. It needs, a little bit more nutrient. It needs a little bit, like, relax a little bit, or I need to cry today, or I need to go out, for a walk. All these things. I had to learn who I was, and you need to do that for yourself. And I also think just coming back to health issues in general, and I get it. I've been there. I've been to so many doctor's appointments, like literally, like I came to a realization that you have to be your own advocate. And the way that you do that is you learn who you are and how your body operates, which means you have to listen. Stop giving all your autonomy and all of your power to higher ups, to doctors. They don't know the answers. And I think that for anyone who has chronic pain, illness, like health issues, you probably are so fed up with going to doctors and all of these things, because the truth is, it's like these people are just writing you a prescription and saying, hey, like this is your fate. And that's not it. But you have to be the one to go out there and find that information and those resources. And you have to try, and it's hard. I get it. But that's the best thing that's really, really helped me heal. And I bring it back to cycle syncing. That was a really like on paper way for me to kind of understand myself. And so anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm going to have videos on that. If you are on hormonal birth control, you're not actually naturally going through your 4 phases, but some people do. And also there's birth control that's not hormonal. So In the Flow book is really a good book to start if you don't really understand it. But I think that for me personally, I was on birth control actually way before any of my health issues. And that was like the first, like when I first got into holistic health and wellness and understanding things before I actually even got diagnosed with anything. And even before my life got really, really ramped up and way more stressful than it ever was. And my life was pretty stressful already. I just didn't really know it. I was like on autopilot. I realized I was like, I don't need to be on hormonal birth control. It just doesn't feel right for me. It doesn't make any sense why I'm on it. I was not somebody who was really sexually active. I didn't have like a long-term boyfriend. So I just didn't need it for that. And then also I just felt that I don't want, it just doesn't seem like natural for me to be suppressing something that's such a vital sign of health, in my personal opinion. I understand though. I just want to say this again. I understand, and don't feel bad if you're on birth control right now. Like I get it, but maybe educating yourself, because you know what? I'll tell you this. I didn't know about 4 phases of my cycle. I didn't know about cycle syncing when I went on birth control. If I knew that, I probably would not have gone on birth control, genuinely. So cycle syncing is big. So also when it comes to skin, really, and these are just like, this is surface level after what I've just said. So I don't know. I'm just going to say it anyways. Not wearing so much makeup and makeup hygiene, and really focusing on skincare as like my like a makeup routine really helped me. I just think that when I was really going through a lot of like breakouts and stuff, I just intuitively, whether this is like, everyone has their opinions, I just intuitively felt like wearing makeup, and I understand why people wear makeup, especially when you have acne. Like I get it. And I totally did, for sure. But I tried my best to not put stuff on my face when my face was breaking out, because I just felt that there's no way that this helps. I just don't see how, like, I want my skin to breathe. I want my skin, if anything, just to have skincare on it. So I really limited the amount of makeup that I was wearing. I also just like didn't love wearing makeup, but I also really learned how to love myself even when I had acne. So I think that the only way that we're really able to kind of be okay with not wearing makeup is if you have that like really big part of self-love and acceptance through that journey, because obviously it's going to be really hard for you to not wear makeup when you're like, oh, my skin is not clear right now, and that's not okay. So I really like learned, and I'm so happy I did, because even as I have clear skin now, like I don't know, I feel like it's really come with me a long way into my late 20s. And when it comes to makeup hygiene, I just think like if you're wearing makeup, try not to wear it all the time. Wash it off when you get home. Oh my God, please, please guys. Oh my God, I get it. No, I don't get it. Actually, I don't get it. I don't get it. It will take you all of 2 minutes to wash up your makeup. I don't care if you're drunk. Whatever. Just take it off your skin, please, when you're done wearing it. And then I guess the last thing before I get in Q&A, because by the way, I asked you guys on the podcast Instagram Q&As. So I kind of like sectioned it out to skin, hair, body. The last thing I'll just say is researching for your skin care that works for you. Okay. At the end of the day, I did a lot of research on what my skin needed in those moments when I was having hormonal acne and all these things. Now I did completely address the health issue thing. And I mean, I would say maybe like 10% of me understanding my skin type and finding products like maybe helped. So, but I'm just saying that though, because like not everyone's skin is the same. Like people are asking me like, oh, what do you do for your skin? But at the end of the day, it's like, your skin might be different than mine, you know? And again, I always bring it back to that internal health piece. It will take you light years away from your health issues if you go to the root versus just trying to find that next product that's probably going to financially stress you out when you realize it's not working. Okay, so I'm going to read out a few questions that you guys had, and then we're going to get to the next section. So the first is how to manage stress for glowing skin / no acne. I already addressed it. And so, I guess maybe one thing I'll say is think about the biggest stressor in your life right now and address that. So are you somebody who really, really overthinks about finances? You need to start addressing that. Is it a toxic parent? Okay, you need to start addressing that. Is it school that's really stressing you out? Okay, you need to address that. Is it your friendship group? You need to address that. Is it your relationship? Address it. And when I mean address it, it's going to look different for everyone, but maybe that means like healthier boundaries, getting out of the house more, picking up a book about scarcity mindset and finances, or sitting down and looking at your finances and coming up with a plan and having goals and, like really working on your mindset, journaling, all that kind of stuff. Like whatever it is, think about your biggest stressor that you think about all the time and address it. Okay. And I can tell you this for free. It's probably not your milk that you put in your coffee in the morning. That's probably not your biggest stressor in your life. I can probably guarantee that. So I think some of the other tips though helped. Someone said how to clear acne. Like I said, all of those tips. I think that everyone is absolutely completely unique. And also it depends on like what type of acne or where. I do think sometimes looking up those like skin mapping things can be helpful. If you're getting it around your chin, most likely it is something to do with your hormone balance issues that are happening. I found when I was getting acne on like my cheek area, like up above like the chin area, it was definitely my gut health. It was so correlated though, because like when I would have flare-ups, my skin would get really, really, really bad. So I can't really tell you in terms of products and stuff because I didn't use any product. I literally didn't use products, but I will say salicylic acid can help for sure when it comes to oil production. But that's basically like as much as I know, but there are actually a few other products when it comes to hyperpigmentation and discoloring for acne scarring that I will talk about. But honestly, like that's basically all I can say with that. And somebody said tips for hyperpigmentation / discoloration. So one, sunscreen is going to be your best friend, especially if you have any acne scarring, because your skin is just, it's very fragile. And when you also have scarring and you go into the sun, it could actually make your skin darker. So sunscreen, always. Right now I'm using Paula's Choice sunscreen, SPF, which is like a face sunscreen I really like. Next thing, chemical exfoliants. Chemical exfoliants are basically obviously a face exfoliant, but it's going deeper into your skin and really turning over your cells, which can then help brighten and change the quickness of the hyperpigmentation, I guess. So I have used Dr. Dennis Gross peel pads forever, so I'll have them linked in my Like to Know It. All my favorite skin stuff will be linked in my Like to Know It. So that could be helpful, using that like 1 or 2 times a week, but that's like a slow, it's a slow thing. Vitamin C, I also use Dr. Dennis Gross vitamin C. That really, really brightens up the skin, so that's beautiful. I use that. And an LED red light therapy mask can be very beneficial when it comes to any sort of acne, scarring. But again, you have to be consistent with it, and you have to, like, this is like a long-term thing, but over time that can definitely help. But I do think honestly protecting your skin from the sun is great and important. Now I'm actually doing a collaboration with Current Body Current Body Skin with their LED red light and blue light masks. So I don't have a code yet, but look out for that video on my main channel, because I'm doing a main channel video where I'm giving you like glowing skin tips, and I'm showing you guys my makeup routine and stuff. So you'll get that, and I talk about that mask in there, and there's going to be a discount code in there. So if you were looking for that, it's pretty expensive, I'm not going to lie, but it is one of the best on the market if you are looking. Now, another thing, I'm going to link an article from Dr. Dennis Gross' website and they give you some steps when it comes to clearing dark spots. And the reason why I like Dr. Dennis Gross is because I have followed his work for a very long time, like probably like since 2018, and he knows what he's talking about. I've listened to him talk about his production of really, really good products from the very beginning, when he first owned, like, I think his first product was the chemical peel. So it's an evolution. I back Dr. Dennis Gross. It is more on the expensive side, but I think that if you're, I think with the products that I just said, it's actually very important that you get the right ingredients and made properly, I should say. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Somebody said recommendations on vitamins. I'm currently not taking any. I spent a lot of money on vitamins and supplements back in the day when I was trying to heal. None of that shit worked. I am not saying vitamins don't work, and I'm sure I'll probably implement some vitamins. And I think that there's some great brands. CanPrev is really good, and AOR. I think CanPrev is only Canadian though. So like there's definitely brands that I back, but currently I'm not really taking any vitamins because I just have a very balanced and healthy diet. I think that if you struggle with having a balanced diet, vitamins can be helpful, but I just don't, when it comes to skin, like, again, it's such a small, it's like, I don't know, I just look at it as like 5 to 10% of like how that's really gonna like change your skin game. So use that as like a support system maybe, but I don't know. I just feel like when people have skin issues, when people have health issues, like, don't stress yourself out about getting a little vitamin that has maybe like 5 milligrams of something that might help your skin. Like I would address all those big things in your life, and then, then invest your money on some supplements. And that's kind of like what I do, but I haven't really done anything. Although I will say L-glutamine is really, really helpful for healing your gut lining, which was actually one supplement that I did take when I had really bad gut health issues. And when you have better gut health, that can affect your skin. So I would say L-glutamine can be very helpful. The next, somebody said, what is your current skincare routine? So it actually depends. Not every single day is the same. And I'm going to show you in that video. But I would just say after the gym and at night, I usually wash my face with a soy cleanser, and then I put on a hyaluronic acid. It completely depends. Right now I'm using Innisfree, and I really like hyaluronic acids because it just really creates a lot of moisture and just plumpness in the skin. And then I usually go in with a serum. So I really like Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Serum because it has vitamin C in it. And at night, I will use Dr. Dennis Gross. I think it's 15% vitamin C serum. I put that on, and then I just put a moisturizer on. Right now, I'm using Vichy. I really like Vichy, and I really like Fresh Beauty. All of my skin, like I said, recommendations will be linked down below on my Like to Know It, just so you can see the brands that I support. That's basically it. Like, if I like a product, I will put it in there, and if I would use it, I would put it in there. But it kind of depends. And in the morning, though, I don't wash my face until I do something that needs for me to wash my face. And I put on sunscreen though in the morning when I go out and out for my walks because the sun is shining all the time. So that's what I usually do. Okay, let's go on to the next thing, which is hair. So quick backstory. If you don't know, but if you're listening on audio, you will also like see my cover. So you probably can tell that I have really curly natural hair. My hair used to not be like this. I grew up in a definitely predominantly white environment, school, everything. So I wasn't really around people who had the same type of hair as me, which meant I wanted to fit in. So obviously, like when I was younger, my mom would like braid my hair. My mom's also white and my dad was black. So she actually did a really good job at learning how to braid my hair and stuff like that. Like I would say she was like, she did really good. But she would like just braid my hair a lot. I liked my hair in braids. I also just felt like when my hair was in braids, it felt like my hair was straight like all my other friends. And, just like whatever. And then I would have my hair in like ponytails and buns and stuff. And as I got older and she stopped doing my hair, I just really I did not know how to take care of my hair. I was not brushing my hair. I hated my hair because it wasn't like my friends. And I had a really, really lengthy journey with just not accepting and loving my hair and not taking care of it. I really hated it. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't know, probably like grade 10 is when I started learning, I can chemically straighten my hair, like my curls, to have them straight all the time, and I can get a flat iron and I can get extensions so I can have straight hair like all my friends. And so I did that forever. That's basically, I think, all of my mixed friends. I didn't even really have like full black friends because there was like literally nobody in like school, or even, I'm from Barrie. For anyone who doesn't know, back then, regardless, nobody was wearing their natural hair. Like literally nobody. My cousins, not even my cousins, or my sisters. I have half sisters from my dad's side. And we all just would do that. So I got to a point where, that was working forever, and I really liked my hair and stuff, but of course my hair was really damaged. Getting your hair chemically straightened, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like you go in the salon and you get this like box chemical stuff get put in your hair, and it literally burns your scalp. It's so not good for your hair. It's so sad actually to think about it. And I just want to quickly say, like, I don't want to offend anyone who's still getting their hair chemically straightened and stuff. Like, I get it, it makes it easier. I mean, that's kind of why we do it sometimes, is because if you don't have straight hair, it is a whole second job to have natural hair and to do like this hair and to upkeep it and everything. So I get it, but I still think it's sad, because I think a lot of, if you really think about it internally, deep down, like a lot of us just really like, we don't own our natural hair. We don't like it. And I'm not trying to put words in other people's mouths who are black, who have black hair, curly hair, who straighten their hair. But for me, and I know for a lot of people internally, deep down, it was a self-hate thing. Like I hated the fact that I had natural curly hair. Now, mind you, one of the reasons why was because like I just wanted to fit in with everyone. When you're young, even when you're older, but when you're young, you just want to fit in, okay? You don't like, that's human nature. But also, I didn't know how to really even do my hair, so that was annoying. And so whatever, I ended up having my hair constantly damaged all the time to the point where it was starting to look really bad. Like my hair was falling out, like my ends looked like shit, like extensions weren't good. Like I kept having to go back and get my hair chemically straightened. It just like wasn't good, and my hair got to a point where it just looked fried. And I think that that's what usually happens. Like when you do things that are not natural to your hair, naturally it's gonna end up like dying and not looking the best. I even think about this when it comes to blondes who keep bleaching their hair. Like unless you have really, really like strong hair genes, like you're probably gonna get to a point where you have to slow it down for a moment and take a second, but whatever, to each their own. Now, around the time where my hair was kind of looking bad and you know, I was just growing up, I did kind of want to know how to do my natural hair, but I didn't really know how, and I didn't even know my curl pattern, things of that nature. And so I would go on to YouTube, to natural hair YouTubers, where they would teach you how to do your hair, like natural hair and like hair routines and stuff like that. So I kind of like dipped my toe into being like, oh, well, like maybe I could go natural and like my hair might look like that, this, that. Now, I spent probably 3 to 4 years trying to dip my toe in the natural hair journey, but never really did it. And what I did was I stopped ironing my hair so frequently, and then I also stopped getting all of my hair chemically straightened. I would just get my roots, and then I got to a point where I just stopped doing that completely, and I just would iron my hair. So I just lessened things over time, and I looked at these women online. Mind you, they're like poster childs for freaking natural hair. So of course they look like stunning, beautiful. And I got to a point where it's like, hey, well, my hairs might not look like their hair, like whatever. But regardless, I just like looked at them and I'm like, wow, like they look so beautiful and amazing and just natural and just healthy. Like I want to look like that. Like I want to just look healthy. This is my whole entire thing when it comes to anything to do with beauty. Okay, guys, what I focus on is health. Healthy, 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 healthy. Are my teeth healthy? Is my skin healthy? Is my hair healthy? Is my body healthy? And that's going to look different for everyone. Okay? Just because somebody has beautiful, straight white teeth does not mean that those teeth are healthy. Just because somebody has like amazing long, like curly, beautiful hair, I mean, for the most part, it's probably healthy, but it doesn't mean that like your hair is not healthy just because it is short type thing. You know what I mean? So, or even when it came to skin health, like just because my skin, I had acne, it didn't mean like as I was going on the journey, it didn't mean that I wasn't getting healthy. So I just like always really come back to health because I just think it's attractive to me personally. And I think when we do our hair and our makeup and our outfits and stuff, we are actually mimicking what it looks like to kind of be healthy. Like when you think about foundation, what is it trying to do? Cover up imperfections to make your skin look really all one, basically to mimic what health would look like, what healthy skin would look like. And like when you do your makeup or your hair, like everything, whatever, aesthetics aside. Anyways, I really just wanted to focus on my health. And at that point, I got really into holistic health and wellness. So I was kind of like, okay, I think I just want to start really doing my hair. I had no idea how I was going to do it, blah, blah, blah. I ended up stopped doing like everything to my hair. And I was like, you know what? I want to go all in. I want to really grow my hair and have it natural and whatever. But I was afraid. I was so afraid because I was not confident with my natural hair. I just didn't know what to do with it. Now I'm going to link an episode where I talk about ending a chapter of self-hate because I go on a deep dive on my whole hair journey when it came to my podcast art actually. So I'm not going to like go into all of it, but I'm going to tell you a few things that I did when I really decided that I want to have my natural hair be a part of who I am as a person, and I just don't want to keep hating on my natural hair, and I want to learn how to love it. And maybe like I didn't know how my natural hair was going to be. Like I literally did not know that my hair could even look like this, how it is now, but I just knew that I wanted to try. Okay, so the first thing was I needed to learn how to love and accept myself for every phase of my hair journey. And I think that is a very big barrier as to why people don't end up going into the direction of going natural. Because I think it's very deep rooted, and there's insecurities in that, and like lifestyle. Like I get it, but I had to stop caring so much about what people would think or what I think I need to look like. And I really need to start pouring into myself. So that's like the biggest thing I honestly think is like wherever your hair is at right now, whether it's not healthy, whether you're trying to figure it out, whether your hair is curly or straight or this, that, or you're growing, whatever, anything, self-love compassion, it's just going to get you very far away. Now, the next thing for me was I needed to commit. If I wanted to have my hair natural the way that it is now, which I had no idea my hair could even be like this, and it's still growing and it's still getting healthy. Like we're not done here. I had to commit, okay? And I've seen people grow up around me who really wanted that natural hair, but they just it was very clear that they weren't willing to commit. And the reason why I'm saying committing is because it's a journey. You can't just decide that you want to do a big chop and then 3 seconds later you're straightening your hair all the time. I mean, you can if you want, but I just think that when you are trying to grow out your hair, it needs as much support on all levels forever. Not forever, but as you're growing your hair out, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, so the next thing is obviously researching for the products that work for your hair is very important, and everyone is different. I think that was a big thing. It's I didn't know what products to use or when to use it. Now, I'm not going to get into it, but knowing if your hair is low or high porosity can be helpful when it comes to picking out products for your hair. Okay? So I'm going to leave a link to an article to help you explain what low or high porosity hair is if you need to understand. Some hair does really good at absorbing products, and some hair doesn't do the best at absorbing products, and that means you might have to use different types of products, different types of water-based or maybe thicker, whatever. And I think that's really important because you need to moisturize your hair, and you need your hair to really have the products that it needs in order to essentially just be moisturized so it can grow. So what works for me is I use honestly, my hair is quite mixed. I find that I have low porosity-ish hair kind of on the top of my hair, and then the bottom and underneath is more high. But regardless, I'm not going to get into it because it really, I don't think it really matters too much. But I can do a hair tutorial, and I have on my main channel, so let me know. And I'm probably going to make a reel of that as well. But I want to go into the next thing, which is trims. So especially when you have natural hair, and you came from straightening it or whatever you did, trimming is so important. And somebody had asked, how do I fix my heat damaged curls? I don't want to cut them off. I'm going to give you the most toughest love possible. They're dead. Okay? They're dead, and you can't revive it. You really can't revive. You can maybe put some oils on it and really moisturize and stuff. But at the end of the day, those bitches are dead, okay? So let it be that. Now, I'll quickly tell you this. When I wanted to go natural, I stopped heat damaging my hair for a long time, and then I slowly got trimmed. So I didn't chop off all my hair. I didn't need to because it was already growing out, and I stopped doing things to my roots and stuff. But it got to a point where at the end of the day, I couldn't really wear my hair out naturally without it looking very straggly, which I showed you guys a picture of that, without taking those ends off. So my advice is go slow. If you don't want to chop off all your hair because you have a lot of heat damage, just keep going every, I don't really know, actually, every 4 to 6 weeks, not 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 months. I don't know. I go usually twice a year to get my ends cut off. But honestly, my hair is very, 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 very healthy that I don't have to do it very often, but I was doing it more. And I did that until all of my heat damage curls were off. I just think that at the end of the day, if you want healthy hair, you need to get that dead hair off. Okay. And again, bringing in that self-love piece, you're going to have to listen. Short-term discomfort, okay? Just understand that it will pass. You will eventually have longer hair, fuller hair, thicker hair, beautiful hair, but it's good. You're just making it harder when you just won't take that leap. You know what I mean? So obviously just do what you can, but trims when needed. Also, another thing that really, really helped my hair was deep conditioning my hair. And also some oil treatments here and there. I do oil treatments a lot more now, but deep conditioning my hair once a week was a ritual that I did when I really wanted to grow my hair. And I mean, deep conditioners can really work in a sense of obviously helping keep your hair very moisturized and nourished. But honestly, I think just the ritual of me showing up for my hair care every single week by doing that, it almost as if it kind of maybe even worked as a placebo in a way, you know? Yes, deep conditioners definitely work, but I think just when you have a full intention of doing something for yourself, sometimes it's not actually even the product that's really working. It's just the ritual, and it's the you showing up, and it's the consistency, and then it's leads to consistency, things of that nature. So I did that every single week, and I just put a hot cap over top of my hair. Now, another thing that really, or a few things that really, 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 really helped me when it came to like my ends and things like that, and like growing my hair, was changing styles often. I think that this is a very big thing, especially probably in the Black community, like with our natural hair or whatever type of thing. We tend to do the same, like we'll pull our hair back into buns and like gel it back, and like every single day we're doing that, and maybe even sleeping with it, this, that. I did this thing where every week, on average, every week I would change my hair. So like for the longest time I was wearing my hair in buns and stuff, but what I would do is first I switched to like silk hair ties, things that were not so tight and not so like pulling on my hair. And if one week I had a low bun, the next week I would do a high bun. The next week I would twist my hair, which is basically like braiding my hair back into a thing. Even if I didn't like the way that it looked, I just kind of like put it back. Like I would always be changing my hair, and I would always be changing the way that I brush my hair, like really taking your hair and manipulating it in a way that's healthy is really good. I think that we usually tend to manipulate our hair in the worst ways, where we gel it back, we pull it back, we hot iron it, we like flat iron it, and it's not good for our hair. And also I would no longer sleep with any sort of hair ties in. I got a bonnet, a silk bonnet, I got a silk pillowcase, and I would try to keep my hair, when I wasn't doing anything, out of a ponytail, out of any sort of hairstyles that really tugged on my roots and things like that. So, and it's crazy because I just like, I would be sitting in my place and my hair would be like all tied up and stuff like that. So just really letting your hair out has been so transformative for me, and also just changing up those styles. And another thing is detangling my hair. Okay. This is huge for people who have curly hair, but even if you have straight hair, like, oh my God, this is actually bad. Like this is, like low key, I'm like kind of embarrassed by this, but I would have my hair in a bun. Like this is high school, like actually elementary school and into high school. Like, God, did I not take care of my hair? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. I would have my hair in a like slick back ponytail bun, and I would straighten it sometimes, but I wouldn't wash, like I would literally keep my hair in that bun like all week, and and this is a side note, especially when you have black hair, you don't tend to need to like wash it all the time because it doesn't really get that oily because you usually have like thick hair, but whatever, everyone's kind of different. I would have to spend probably 2 hours brushing out the mats in my hair because my hair was so tangled. Because when you have natural hair, your hair tangles easily. Like my hair right now, technically it's like, it's not tangled, but I'm going to have to like, anyways. So, and that also would lead to a lot of breakage because my hair was tangled all the time. So I had to get real with myself. I had to coming back to that commitment piece. I had to be real and say, you know what, girl, this is just going to be what it is. Okay. First of all, you should be loving your hair and supporting your hair. And if that means an extra hour a day you have to do your hair, so be it. It is what it is. Okay. And quite frankly, you're going to love it when you actually do your hair. So what I do now is if I'm getting my hair wet, I'm detangling my hair. I section it into 3 parts and I detangle my hair. And it doesn't take long. And I think like over time, when you get used to it, it doesn't take long. And your hair doesn't take long to detangle because you brush it so often. But I really wasn't brushing my hair a lot, which is wild to me because it's like you have curly hair. So anyways, that's what I do. I'm always detangling my hair. I'm always putting product in my hair. My hair, like I'm always changing this hairstyles. I'll put it down in a low bun. I'll put it up in like a little poof if I want. I'll leave it out. It really, really depends. Like usually you guys kind of see me have my like hair probably in a like claw clip, like down. That's usually for the podcast. Like I don't have my hair like that all week. Like literally it's only when I'm doing something like that or even my hair like this, but all the other time, like every other moment throughout my week, my hair is either like twisted with some like beautiful oils or up in a little bun. Usually when I have my hair up in a bun, like naturally, I can leave it for a few days because it has a lot of moisture and it just like, my hair loves to be like that. But after that, I still have to detangle it. So that's just what I have to do. This is my natural hair, and I'm happy about it. And I poured a lot of love and compassion into my hair, and it's transformed, and I can go out and be natural and be confident, which is wild to me. I never thought that I could ever do that. So those are my tips for healthy hair, but I just want to quickly bring it back to that biopsychosocial. You know, everyone, I think hair is a little bit different because, obviously it's a little bit more genetic type of vibe, but, also not like, just because maybe like, oh, maybe your mom doesn't have like long hair or thick hair and stuff doesn't mean that you can't have it. I think that, again, your internal systems are going to really play a part. Like my hair definitely was not healthy when I was really sick and unhealthy, of course, because like my body is not worrying about utilizing vitamins because I couldn't even absorb any of those vitamins to be able to really have my hair grow anyways, and my habits didn't really reflect that. Okay, so that's it for hair, but there was one question. Well, there was a few, but I feel like I answered most of them with the tips. And I feel like hair is a little bit unique because I know not all of you guys have natural curly hair, but somebody said or asked about volume, like how to lessen the volume in your hair if you have like curly hair. It's just a funny question to me because I do the opposite. Like my hair is very voluminous and like I will like pick out my hair and make it bigger. So I don't know, but the only thing that I will say is I'm assuming using a gel would help because a gel basically weighs down your curls in your hair. Like if I were to put gel in my hair right now, it would be probably a lot smaller. I use gel to seal in the moisture sometimes when I'm doing a twist out and just like keeping my hair in like a little bun, but and like I don't mean like Eco Styler gel or Got to Be glue gel. Actually, I should really just be like clear about that. Got to Be gel and or Eco Styler gel I use for styling my hair when I want to do a slick back. I don't think that that's something that you should probably continuously like strip into your hair if you want a gel. Love Your Curls has a good gel, so it depends on the gel, like it depends on the formula, but to weigh down your hair I would assume gel. Okay, let's talk about body. Again, I think the biopsychosocial plays a huge part because if you think about the fact that if you are stressed all the time, it doesn't matter how many workouts that you do or the diet that you're on. Maybe for a bit your body will respond to it, but if your body is internally stressed, it will hold on to fat. It will not utilize fat. It will not burn fat the way that you need to because it literally thinks that there's a threat outside of you at all times, and your internal systems just won't be helping your body be in balance. And I remember at the height of me being very, very stressed in my life, I held a lot of fat around my stomach. Not a bad thing, especially for women. We need definitely we need a good amount of fat to be around our stomach areas to protect our organs. So that's totally fine. But I will say for sure, I held on to I had like really big, quote unquote, what people would say like muffin tops for a body proportion that it just it wasn't really that proportional. And I'm not saying that we need to be proportional. I don't think my body's like perfectly proportional, but I definitely saw a difference. And that fat around my stomach kind of melted away a lot more as I lowered my stress. There was no certain diet that I did. I basically was the same weight in different ways, but I fluctuated in terms of I started to build more muscle and burn more fat. But it was just a lot of the things that I was doing in my day-to-day life that contributed to lowering stress. It wasn't this specific diet or like workout. But anyways, I'm going to talk about some of the things that really I've learned and implemented over the years that has allowed me to have the body that I have now. And I think that the body that I have now, I'm very proud of it. I am the healthiest I have ever been. And yes, like even aesthetically, like I'm killing it. And I love that. But the way that I got to where I'm at right now was first healing my relationship with food and body image. Okay. Again, this is huge in my book. I don't think I would be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for me really getting to the root of my self-hate and critical thinking, and also my emotional connection to candy/food. because that was the thing that really got me into these self-sabotaging behaviors where I just couldn't even take care of myself in a healthy way. I couldn't stay on any sort of consistent routine because I would be all or nothing. I would be on this strict diet because I hated myself and I didn't like my body, and I thought that the only way I was going to be loved and the only way that I was going to have confidence and the only way I was going to look good and be able to go live my life was if I had this tumbler body, and I didn't have that. I didn't look like that. So I said I need to go on a diet until I look like that. But it was hard for me to go on a diet from a place of self-hate because, for one, I was very strict and hard on myself, and it's not sustainable. And two, even when I did start changing my body a little bit, because I did lose a little bit of weight like in high school and that, it didn't matter because the way that I looked at myself was just inherently like, no, not good enough. And then also, because I was waiting to be perfect, I would not have a healthy lifestyle and like go out in the world and live my life. And that contributed to also not even losing weight. So I'll give you like kind of example what I mean by that. When you have a thriving, and like everyone's social life is different, but when you have a thriving social life, when you like want to get out of bed, when you have goals, when you're working, when you're like out there doing things, all of that contributes to a healthy body without even trying. Like genuinely it does. Why? Because your mental health is good and you're moving your body, you're out in the world, like you're doing things, like you're genuinely like expanding energy, okay? But if you are a hermit, you hate your life, you hate yourself, you're waiting for summer, you're not doing anything until then, you're scrolling on your phone and you're trying to like diet and restrict yourself, your body's not going to respond. So I kind of just learned that if I really do even want my dream body, I have to stop waiting for summer. I have to stop waiting for me to fit into these jeans. Like I have to have some level of acceptance and self-love and confidence within myself as I'm changing. And that really, really helped me because it also helped me stop dieting so hard because I accepted myself and I said, okay, like I don't have to look like the girl on Tumblr. I don't need to have the skinniest body to go live my life. And when I did that, of course, I stopped strict dieting so much. And then I was just having healthier behaviors, like just regular eating in a way. But I will say, I had in the midst of me hating myself, I was strict dieting, and then that led to an eating disorder. So I had orthorexia, meaning I was incredibly hyper aware of clean foods, eating, ingredients, holistic health, to the point where like it was just really, really unhealthy. So I would only eat things that were very clean and very like approved and eat at home and that, which messed up my social life. It messed up my mental health. I was obsessed with everything all the time. And because I also had an emotional connection to specifically sweets and the times where I was really, really stressed out in my life, it was really hard for me to be able to stay on quote unquote a healthy, holistic diet. So I would go into these binge cycles. So when I would eat food that was off of the diet, also because I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, that heightened my orthorexia because I was like, oh my God, it's diet that's going to be the thing that heals me, which is only a part of the puzzle. So all of that combined with having to live a normal life, which I didn't live a normal life because I was just not healthy in many ways. But when I did have to go out into the world and eat something that was off the diet, I couldn't handle it, and I would bring that food back up if it wasn't clean. So that's what I would do. And because when I would do that, then I would go into a binge because I'm like, oh, well, I fucked up everything anyways. So I might as well just eat completely off the diet. And that I was in that cycle for years and years and years and years and years. And then I got to a point where I realized, okay, well, this is not working. And realistically, I keep eating the quote unquote bad foods that I'm telling myself that I can't have because it's not healthy. I might as well just stop trying to stay on a diet because I end up not binging and eating as bad as I do when I'm actually just not on a diet. Like I ate worse when I would be so restrictive versus just eating normal that was quote unquote like maybe like just like a normal standard diet where not every single thing was clean. And I did a lot of education when it came to obviously emotions and like the emotional connection to food because on one hand, yes, the reason why I did a lot of those binge eating habits was because the education that I had in terms of healthy eating and this, that, like it heightened everything. And I was trying to heal, like, and I send love and compassion to myself. And I say it in my book, like I was just trying to heal. But I also realized that I didn't need to go on these extremes to be healthy. And so I would just, anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but I just went back to kind of normally eating. And what helped me normally eat was to first learn to love myself, right? Because again, I was no longer in this desperate need of being on a diet. And when I did that, and what I was saying was address the emotional component, I realized that the reason why I was really addicted to eating candy and like binge eating in that sense, like I binged eat in the sense of, yes, the orthorexia and clean eating, but I would also like binge a lot and like really crave like candy and stuff. It was because I learned how to regulate my emotions and my nervous system through that. And a lot of people do it in different ways. People do it in ways of like just overeating in different foods, or they have that comfort food, or they will drink, or they'll go to drugs, or they'll go to toxic men. Like everyone like sometimes like has those things. But for me, it was definitely candy. And I rooted that back all the way to childhood. And I realized that every time that I was in a situation that I was really, really afraid of, or I couldn't handle, or I had no power or autonomy, all I could think about was, how do I get candy right now? I would spend money on candy. I would hide it. I wouldn't steal it from like stores, but I would, dude, side note, one time I was in like kindergarten class or something, and I saw this kid. He had like this stack of Oreos that his mom allowed him to have. By the way, my mom didn't really let me have like a lot of like sweet stuff, but it was honestly because we didn't really have money. So like she wasn't going to spend a lot of money on like Lucky Charms and shit like that. But anyways, whatever. It really wasn't that. She wasn't that restrictive as a parent. It was definitely bringing it back to, I was just in fight or flight and scared. And candy helped me feel better is what I'm trying to say. He had Oreos and he put them in his backpack, and everyone sat down, and I couldn't stop thinking about those Oreos. Like, I'm sorry, I needed them. So I went into the back, into the cubbies, and I stole them from his backpack, and I put them in mine, and I ate them. So I would do behaviors like that, okay? And listen, like that's just like also like a normal like child thing to do sometimes. I don't always need to bring it back to, oh, I was like stressed all the time, this, that, but I was. And when I was around my dad, stressed. When I was in an environment where I was outside of my comfort of my own home, which was a lot, I would just always think about food and stuff like that. So candy, I should say. So that emotional component as well was something I really needed to work on. And I worked on that when I was healing the relationship that I had towards myself, and also like colitis, everything like that, like chronic illness. I was realizing like a mind-body connection, your emotions play a huge role in why you are as unhealthy as you are in a way. And when I did that, when I really released those emotions and healed those childhood traumas, guess what went away? My incessant need to always have candy. So, you know, loving myself, accepting myself, dropping the diets because we know they don't work, and also dealing with that emotional component was a perfect recipe for me to finally drop this constant self-sabotaging behavior of eating good then not this, that. Like I dropped it all. And when I healed my relationship with food, I actually really, really, like I took a big step away from body image. So like being on, well, at this point, Tumblr wasn't really a thing, but like Pinterest, Instagram, taking photos of my body, caring about that stuff, moving around people who cared a lot about their appearance. I put my time and attention into my finances and fixing my life and my goals and working and things that really mattered anyways, really. And I took my focus off of body image, and I really healed. And I got to a point where I was just moving my body again. And because I wasn't so addicted to like having a certain diets and stuff, I would go out with my friends and I wouldn't be worrying about food so much. And I would sleep right and I would eat right. There was no specific diet that I was doing. I stopped being so afraid of ingredients that had some processed stuff in it, because I knew when I would be afraid of the food that had processed food in it, it would literally turn on my fight or flight response. And then regardless, I would be intaking that food in a way that was not healthy for my body. And so I stopped being afraid of so much food, this, that. And then naturally I just like, I'm at a point right now where I don't have any sort of specific diet other than focusing on eating protein really. But I'm the healthiest I've ever been because of healing, and I just eat in a way that's very natural to me. And I coming back to like the cycle syncing thing. Like I listen to my body. Like, what does my body need today? What activity did I do today that requires more nutrients, more protein, more fiber, more whatever? When you're connected and you're not so much in fight or flight and finding the next thing and trying to fix things and problems everywhere, you start to tap into what your body needs in that moment. And it takes a while. It takes you slowing down. It takes you kind of like looking at the biggest stressors in your life. But over time, you definitely can get there. And I genuinely thought that I was never going to stop binge eating and doing those behaviors. I had no idea how I was going to stop that. But I did. So a lot of that is written in my book, but I will talk about some of the things that I've picked up over the years that I do now that are from this healthy place, and I think could maybe help you guys in a way. So for me, I really focus on simple and easy, not easy in the sense that it doesn't take anything out of me, but like just simple weekly workouts and things that work for me. So I think weightlifting is the best thing for many reasons. I think it really, well, first of all, it builds muscle. Muscle is so incredibly important, especially as we age, for everyone, but especially women, especially your hormones, by the way. Weightlifting is amazing. And I'm not talking about weightlifting where you're being like exhausting yourself weightlifting, because I used to do that and that didn't really help my hormones at all. But weightlifting that is like a few times a week, you're doing compound movements, you're getting in and out of the gym, you're not obsessing over every single little tiny movement because it's beyond what that's going to do for your physical appearance. But of course, in turn, your physical appearance your body's going to look banging. My legs be legging, my ass is growing, my arms are looking good, the body is looking banging, and I'm not doing much in the gym. And I really had to change the way that I viewed like working out, of course, like not just for aesthetic reasons. And I know it's so hard because we like, but at the end of the day, you have to think about this. You should always be working out, and that's that. Okay. To the end of time, really and truly, we should be moving our bodies and whatever works for you. But at the end of the day, it's like, stop looking at working out as this thing that's like one day you just don't have to do it. You have to do it. Okay. It doesn't have to be so tiring, but you got to do it. Okay. It's like brushing your teeth. You just got to do it. So you got to find what works for you. But I do think weightlifting for sure builds muscle, which makes your body look really toned and nice and beautiful, but it also makes you healthy. Obviously, it also helps with appetite. It also helps with your metabolism. Also, muscle burns more fat than anything else in your body. So you can have a bigger appetite without putting on a lot of weight, which I feel like some people struggle with their weight, because when you lower your calories and all you're doing is cardio, you're basically training your body to just be really, really good at running on no calories, but you don't have any muscle. So the reason why I'm saying that is because you get to a point where you can't keep continuously lowering your calories and you need to eat. So as soon as you start eating a little bit more, your body's going to store that as fat, versus if you have more muscle in your body is not going to store everything as fat. So it's important that you have muscle. Even if you're on a weight loss journey, you should be weightlifting. I also was a personal trainer, by the way, if you're interested. Anyways, that's what I do. I do like a few workouts a week when it comes to weightlifting. I just do what I like. Usually it's legs. And right now I'm doing 2 to 3 times a week hot yoga because I like hot yoga. You got to do what you want to do. Okay. So I'm going to say this, find what works for you. Every season is probably going to be different, but the reason why it's important to find what works for you is because it will then work and your body will find the benefits of it. Because I feel like sometimes we're like, oh, well, what's the best workout? Oh, everyone's saying Pilates, so now I have to do Pilates. No, if you like Pilates and you're motivated to do Pilates, and do it, and yes, then it's going to work. But if you hate Pilates, I'm telling you this right now, if you hate Pilates or if you hate yoga and you're forcing yourself to do it, maybe your body will change a little bit, but most likely you're going to fall off. So when you fall off, Is your body going to change? No, because you're not being consistent. But also, you're going to have a mental state of mind and a physical state of mind of stress and annoyance and not happy with life. And that will affect your body and how it utilizes food and how it grows muscle or not, and etc. And your balance is balancing your hormones and everything. Okay. So again, coming back to that mind body connection, your body is so much more than just like what you're doing in the gym. Like your mental state really, really, plays a huge role. And I think that even when it comes to like, if you're doing like 5 a.m. cardio morning routines every single day and you're stressed out and you're tired all the time, that is not good for your hormones. That's not good for your energy. Even though on paper, going and doing cardio every day is supposed to make you lose weight, you got to think about the long term and you got to think about your stress levels. So doing workouts that really don't stress you out that much is helpful. And I do think weightlifting is the best, at least for me. Next thing is walking. I just think that this is like one of the best things that we could do. Again, we just should be walking every day, like moving our bodies every single day. It just doesn't make any sense why us as humans would spend an entire day not getting up and moving. It's really just not normal if you really think about it. And I used to not be a walker, but it's been a habit that I've implemented in my life and I absolutely love it. And I think that it leads into another thing, which is habit stacking. And habit stacking is just something that really helps me get a lot more like healthy habits into my day without feeling like it's just this long process. So, when I go for my walk, I'm listening to a podcast that is inspiring or motivating me. Sometimes I listen to music and sometimes I don't listen to anything at all, but I'm doing kind of like two things at once, but I make sure that the two things at once aren't like overstimulating. There's some things that you just can't do two things at once, but also let's say you're scrolling on TikTok or you're doing your studying or whatever you're doing, like doing a hair mask or doing a face mask, things like that. Just getting some things in, I think can really up the amount of things that you could do for yourself in a day. And it doesn't have to be all these amazing things. Really and truly, it's like, are you moving at least once a day or one workout a day? Are you drinking water and eating 3 balanced meals? I mean, obviously it depends on your appetite and things like that, but like, are you eating like balanced meals cooked at home? Like, and are you sleeping, and how is your mental health? Like it doesn't really cost a lot. I think we're always like spending a lot of money on things that we just don't need, or at least we're spending money on things that are not the most important thing right now when we haven't even addressed like sleep or something. I feel like some people are like, okay, I want to find this supplement this supplement that's going to fix my bloating. But it's like, okay, but are you stressed throughout the day? Are you getting enough sleep? What are you eating? Like your probiotic is not going to fix your IBS when you are stressed all the time. It's not. Trust me. I've literally had IBD. It's not going to be the thing that does it. It can help, maybe, but again, if you're stressed all the time, you can't fall asleep. Like all of these like normal, natural things, like you're on your phone all the time, stressing, hating yourself. I'm telling you, that's like not gonna help. Another thing that I've learned to do is when it comes to working out and even maybe eating is not switching up these like workouts and eating things so frequently. Because I just think that when you change workouts all the time, sometimes you're not going to see any results if that's what you're wanting, because you're changing things up all the time. And I found that when I was changing up things all the time, it was because I was being impatient and I was getting influenced by 100 million people. And it's like, I didn't even give myself enough time for a lot of these things to even give me the benefits that it could give me. Even when it comes to vitamins and stuff, all the supplements and things like that, or even just like, high protein diet or something like that, if you want to do any sort of diet, which I don't recommend at all. Like I really don't, other than just like, are you eating balanced meals and yes, fiber and fat and carbs and protein. But if you are wanting to balance your hormones or get clear skin, stop switching things up so frequently. And I think a lot of people struggle with that because of course it's like, I want the new thing and the next thing and this, that, but Give yourself some time. And I think like the past year, I've been very consistent with very minimal leg days at the gym, like very minimal, like twice a week and not every single week I was going. And my legs have looked the best they ever have from doing the bare minimum because I just kept consistent. I obviously like I'm changing some of my weights and my reps and that, but like I've gotten such good results by doing the bare minimum because I've just been consistent. The next thing that I think is really, really important is listening to your body when it needs more or less working out. Again, especially if you're a woman and you're cycle syncing and things like that, you need to listen to your body. And I honestly even just think about this when it comes to if you're sore. If you are sore, but you're so adamant on being like, I have to get in my 3 workouts a week or I'm just like not going to be fit in that, but you're so sore, you're going to do more damage to your body because you're not allowing your body to recover. And what your body actually needs right now is for it to recover. And you giving it rest will actually allow you to propel in the results that you're looking for. Same thing goes with when you're on your period. Stop stressing yourself out so much to do your 5 a.m. freaking cardio routine when it's stressing you out. If it's not stressing you out and you feel fine, and that's fine. Everyone is different, right? I'm just going to say that everyone's different. But coming back to the stress thing, stop putting yourself under so much stress, which means, like there's going to be weeks that things might come up or you might need a little bit more sleep. I personally would rather prioritize having my 8 hours of solid sleep than every single day having not enough sleep and stressing myself out by like doing this really rigorous hard workout. Now, yes, we have to push ourselves sometimes and not every single day needs to be perfect. But I just remember back in the day, I would it was no wonder that my body wasn't really responding to some of the workouts that I was doing because I was stressed so much. I had so many things on my plate. Mentally, I was stressed. In my environment, I was stressed. I was stressing out my body because I was trying to diet. I was doing 100 million things at the gym. It was no wonder that my body wasn't really changing as much as it did. And even when it did, was I happy with it? No, because I couldn't accept anything about myself. Listen to your body. Everyone is different. And I think when you tap into that self-love piece and accepting yourself and knowing not every single day is going to be perfect. You don't need to have a perfect body all the time. It is totally fine. Like days happen, weeks happen. You'll be okay with listening to your body, I think. The next thing is weekly cooking at home. I think it's a very easy, simple way to ensure that you're going to be the healthiest version of you. I mean, there's no denying that obviously when you're eating out all the time, you're getting all of these added ingredients and that, and this is not to fear. I mean, coming from somebody who was so fearful of that, I really try and I'm not afraid of eating things that are not from home anymore. But yeah, like I just feel better when I'm making my food and I know what's in it, and I'm trying to source my ingredients to the highest that I can afford. And there's different evolutions of that. If you don't have a lot of money right now, don't stress yourself out by trying to spend 3 times more on a steak because it's grass fed. If you don't have the money, please don't do it. I'm telling you. The reason why I'm saying that is because I used to do that. I used to literally spend so much money that I did not have on really, really expensive, healthy food because I thought that was going to be the thing that healed me. But in turn, by doing that, I stressed myself out so financially. And also, there was a million other things that were stressing me out that even if that quality of food would have helped me, it couldn't help me because I was so stressed in every other aspect of my life. Look at my life now, guys. I got out of the situation that I was in. I got financially stable. And then I had extra money to be able to go buy that grass-fed steak. Now, there'll be some health experts telling you to go do that regardless, but I don't think that that's true. I think everyone's different. And I think that if you are struggling financially, I just don't think it's a good health choice for you to spend all of your money on clean ingredients. I think that there's ways that you can still eat healthy on a budget. Obviously it depends, but you just do what you can. And I think a lot of that does start at home. I think a lot of people complain about, everything like eating healthy is so expensive. No, eating grass-fed steak is expensive. Okay. But making your steak at home, even if it's not grass-fed, is better than you spending $15 for only one meal at a burger joint. Like, you can make it work. You can make it work. And I'm saying that from experience, because when I really stopped spending so much money on that, I went back to the basics and I was still able to eat very healthy. It was just kind of like a mindset switch, and I budgeted and stuff. And I got to a point where I was able to, like I buy grass-fed steak now. And, would I like to up level my food quality even more? For sure. So my body can get the best nutrients, but it's not the biggest concern of mine. It's really not, especially coming from the life that I came from. And another thing would be educating myself on ingredients, or educating yourself on ingredients. I think that is important, but I would just be like highly aware that, like, just, reading the back of labels and understanding what is being put in your food is important, but don't stress about it if that's like the only thing that you can eat. But yeah, knowing what you're putting in your body is really important. And I think a lot of us do not know. And I think that, like, oh my God, there's so much health stuff out there. Like, the way that I have 100 million books, I've tried every freaking diet under the sun, and you have to find what works for you. What works for me is eating the highest quality food that I can get, minimal ingredients, cooking from home. When I'm out and I am having something that's processed, I'm trying to pick things that don't have 100 million things on the ingredient list. I'm not perfect. And even when I go out, like, let's say I have coffee, I ask for like less syrup, because I think that most places put too much syrup. Like, small little things over time will add up, but just don't stress about it. Okay, so that's it for the 3 main topics. There's a few other questions that I have and like resources that I'm going to try and like really like push through, because this episode is super long. Someone said, can you talk about how much you limited sweets or habits for hormonal care? I tried doing that, but I think you guys understand that it was like a whole healing journey. Me trying to limit sweets never worked. It never worked because it was deeper than that. Like, it's like saying to a little child that's really, really afraid and emotionally scared to not want something that's gonna make them feel better in the moment, like candy or a hug. Like, it doesn't matter how much you tell them that it's not good for them. Like, they're still going to go and try and find that because they need soothing. So you need to figure out what you're trying to soothe and what you're trying to, like, what is it that you actually need that's in a healthier version than obviously just binge eating or like having sweets and stuff like that. Like, that's really what's going on. And obviously internal things that might be going on. Like, maybe you're generally not eating enough. Like, I remember also being on a really strict diet. Like, no wonder you crave more candy, because you're telling yourself you can't have any of it. And you're starving yourself. And when I don't restrict myself and I eat balanced meals that have protein that's going to keep me satiated, and I'm eating foods that I'm excited about, and I'm cooking and I'm loving myself all through the process, I don't need to limit anything because I'm not craving those things anymore. So I guess that's kind of all I'll say about that. Someone said, how to get your body looking glowing? Oils, body oils, okay? This is what I do. I go into the shower. As soon as I'm out of the shower, instantly the first thing that I'm doing is skincare, because I feel like oils and body butters, they sink into the skin more when you're a little bit damp. So I use Aveeno body oil moisturizer or something, whatever. I will have it linked in my like to know it. It is iconic. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you got to get on it. I love that. I don't know if it's the most natural ingredients. It's probably not, but I don't care too much about that right now. Like, I mean, I do in some senses, especially when it comes to skincare and body care. But again, I don't try to be like hyper obsessed about those things. And I just really love that oil. So I always put the oil on right after my shower. Like, that's just like my number one thing. That's really kind of all I do. Someone said good shaving creams for the girl down there and tips for a good shave. Okay. I'm going to put you on right now. If you're not already on, you don't watch me on Instagram. First of all, always exfoliate your body when you're about to shave, okay? Use a sugar scrub, use an exfoliant. I don't care what you need to just exfoliate your skin, okay? So, I mean, also you could just use like a hand towel and stuff, but I just think that your skin needs to be moisturized and exfoliated before you go in with a razor. So what I like to do sometimes, like when I'm actually shaving, is I do like my hair care routine and I let my body like really like my pores open up before I do the shaving. And then I go in with Bush Bomb's sugar scrub. Okay. I think that their sugar scrub is elite, and it's elite because it has these natural oils in it that leave your skin feeling like you don't even need soap to shave once you sugar scrub your skin, okay? So I will leave. I think the code will probably still be working, Alicia25 for Bush Balm. But regardless, I just love it. It's not sponsored, and I don't make commission off of that link or that code, but I think it's really great. And I've been working with them a lot on Instagram. That's why I have that code. But so I use the sugar scrub, and then I just shave. I use a Venus razor. Right now I'm using Youth to the People body wash, and sometimes I use their exfoliant as well. And right after you shave, you have to use the oil, okay? Please use an oil. Bush Balm's ingrown hair oil, I think, is elite because it just has the right oils that you need to work on any sort of razor bumps and burns. So I put it on my bikini line. I put it on my legs when I shave them and my armpits. And I do that as soon as I get out of the shower. So that's the first thing, or whatever. That's not the first thing, but that's the thing that I do next. And then sometimes I put a body butter over top if I need it, but usually it's an oil. And specifically for my bikini line, when I get out of the shower and when I've just shaved, I always put on underwear that is seamless. Because if I don't and I put on underwear that just is like a little bit more rough, then it tends to create even more bumps that are not needed. So try and stay light on your body if you can until your like, I don't know, your skin kind of like calms down. So those are my favorite products. Someone said, do you work out every day? I do not work out every single day. Most days, like I either have that, like I said, I go to my condo gym and I work out, or I'm doing hot yoga right now. I'm doing hot yoga, Bikram hot yoga. And on the days that I'm not doing that, I do extra walks, but every single day I walk. So usually when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I go outside and I go for a walk. I just like look at the sun, I put on my sunscreen, I just like peacefully go for a walk. And then throughout the day, like after I record this episode, I'm going to go for a walk because I've been sitting for a while. So usually when I'm sitting for a while, I'll go for a walk, I'll go for an evening walk. And then on the days that I'm not, I will walk more. So that's just what I do. I also make sure to walk to most places if I can. I live in the city, so obviously it's a little bit more convenient. But I know some of my friends be Ubering when it's fucking 10-minute walk. I won't do that. I'll just grab my, I don't know. I was going to say AirPods, but I lost those. My headphones, and I will walk most places if I can. Someone said best way to get rid of body discoloration. So I don't know because I've never tried to do any of that. So I'm wondering if you're saying maybe like armpit area. Some people say like BHAs can work, or there's like this BHA solution from Ordinary, but I do not know. Cassandra, I think her name is Cassandra something. I don't know her last name, but maybe we'll link her down below. She's really good with skin stuff on YouTube, so I would suggest maybe look at her stuff, but also the article for Dr. Dennis Gross, but that has to do more with hyperpigmentation and scarring on your face, so I don't really know anything else when it comes to that. Someone said, thoughts on cranberry supplements, are they good for pH balance? I don't know because I've never really had issues with my pH balance for the most part in my life. But what I will say is like, I don't know. I think that if you're having like really like a lot of issues when it comes to like vaginal care and things like that, I think just looking internally a little bit deeper, like what's your overall diet like? What products or like supplements maybe you're taking that might be affecting that. Also like your daily habits, you know, are you stressed? Are you moving? Are you sleeping? Those play a huge role. And I know people think that it doesn't, but it does. Okay. Everything is connected. Also like I know like obviously like if you're sleeping with someone like that can affect your pH balance. So I don't know, but I've never had that issue. Like, I've really not had that issue when it comes to, like, sleeping with my man. Like, have I? No. So, I don't know about cranberry supplements. The reason kind of why I'm answering this also, though, is because I just think that you have to be careful with the type of supplements that you get from different brands. Like, make sure that they're third-party tested. Also, make sure that it doesn't just have proprietary blends in the supplement, because that could mean a range of things. If you're getting cranberry supplements, it could actually have way less of the ingredient that you think that you're getting if it says proprietary blend of something. you got to be careful with those supplements on the market. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Someone said, what age did you shift from perfectionism and all or nothing mindset, and why do you think then? I would say it was a journey. There was not one specific age. I think all throughout my early 20s when I just started to reflect on the behaviors that I was having. I think when I really dropped the incessant need of body image was probably the first like starting point of really dropping that perfectionism, because I think that it really stemmed from that, like realizing like I don't need to be perfect to take a photo or be around people or date guys or like go and live my life. Like I think that was a really big contributor to perfectionism. But then I also had that in other senses of like diet and stuff. So, you know, it's a journey. That's basically all I can say, but it's a journey that will eventually end, and you will flourish and you will learn so much about yourself. And I think that I am actually very grateful for everything that I have gone through, although it was some of the hardest times, physically and mentally. Like when I say physically, I mean I was in the hospital multiple times, bleeding, internally bleeding, because my flare-ups were so bad. I was absolutely like malnutrition, malnourished. When I had flare-ups, I had zero energy. I was trying to go to school, and I was like, I remember I lost like 20 pounds in a span of a month. I was in bed ridden. I was stomach pains. My skin was a mess, everything. I was just so much freaking pain. But I mean, I'm not saying like it was all like worth it, but I learned a lot, and that was just my journey. And of course I'm here because a lot of that, and I'm helping other people go through certain things as well. So there's just a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess is what I'm going to say. Someone said, what is your favorite healthy habit / long-term habit to invest in? I would say 3 things. One being hot girl walks. I feel like I got a lot of you guys on the hot girl walks, but I just think it's just walking, moving your body. If anything, if you're not even in your fitness era and you don't want to do things, walk. I promise you, mentally, it just really helps. But physically, yes, it's great for your body. Next thing is working on your mental health. I don't think that I would be as healthy as I am, as glowing as I am, as hot as I am, as confident as I am if I did not work on my mental health. And I think that I did it the opposite way, or I tried to do things the opposite way. I tried to address or get on a glow up journey from physical things, like external ways of changing. And my journey led me back to myself, which was mental, essentially. So your mental health will be the biggest and most important thing that I personally think that you can invest in. You can do all of the things in the world, but if your mental health is not there, then it's not really going to last, in my opinion. And I would say sleep. I really would say sleep, because I think that sleep creates a lot of clarity. Sleep allows your body to rejuvenate and to really utilize some of the nutrients that you've been taking in. Also, your workouts and recovery. Like there's so much that sleep really, really helps and supports. So I think that's really, really crucial, I should say. Last thing, quick. Oh my gosh, this episode's getting so long. This is crazy. Resources. Quick resources, I think. I'm not going to get too much into it. But I would say for a health podcast, honestly, the only one that I really trust these days, and I've been listening to her forever, even when she was on YouTube and didn't have a podcast, was, the podcast is called What's the Juice by Olivia. I don't know her last name. Olivia something. I think it's really, really good, especially for women. She has really, really, really good episodes on hormonal balancing, PCOS, things of that nature, like whatever. Everything basically that you need. The next thing, when it comes to emotional health and chronic illness, first, I would honestly say my book. I think it's a great introduction, and especially if you really resonate with some of the things that I've been talking about in this episode when it comes to unhealthy relationship with food, body image, self-hate, sabotaging behaviors, chronic illness. I talk about it a lot in the book, and it's also a journal guide. But Nicole Sachs, which I do mention her in my book, I think she's a great resource. Go follow her on Instagram. She really sheds light on this mind-body connection when it comes to emotional releasing and emotions, and how your body will physically speak to you if you are somebody who has learned to live suppressing, ignoring, hating, putting your emotions to the side, which most of us do. A lot of us do. Or you've gone through any sort of childhood trauma, big or small, and everyone has. You Are the Placebo is a really good book when it comes to understanding that your mind really, really plays a role in your health and your self-image also, I guess. And The Body Keeps the Score is another good book to understand how the mind-body connection works, I guess is what I'll say. Those are definitely things that I dove into when it came to healing my nerve pain in my hands, along with regulating my nervous system, which you can go to somatic therapists. You can regulate your nervous system by thinking better thoughts. You can regulate your nervous system by doing guided meditations, going out on nature walks, getting off of social media, guided meditation, sleeping, right? Like you can heal your nervous system in many ways. Like I think that people don't understand the nervous system, but it's not like actually rocket science. It's genuinely like lowering stress. That's all it is. And there's many ways to lower stress. You can do it through your diet. You can do it through your mental health. You can do it through your habits, but it all plays a role. So looking at your biggest stressor in your life is going to be most important and start from there. Another book when it comes to, if you're interested in understanding ingredients and stuff when it comes to food, Feeding You Lies is a really good book, but just don't obsess over it, please. And I think that's going to be it because I have so much. So let me know if you need anything else. Okay. That was a lot. I don't know. That was a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have a few episodes actually planned for the upcoming weeks. I can't believe we're almost in June. Hold on. We're not there yet. Oh my God. I can't believe that. Anyways, whatever. We have a lot of episodes, but let me know, of course, in the comments. Let me know on the podcast or Spotify. You guys can respond back. Also, one last thing I'm going to say is when I get Q&As and I'm saying, oh, we're going to talk about glow up physically or like health and whatever, some of you guys will submit a question that has nothing to do with the topic, and I'm not mad about it. The reason why I'm saying that is when I'm asking a question, when it's like specific to something, obviously I'm not going to answer your question that has nothing to do with the topic because the topic is different, but I don't want to, because I don't respond to those questions. I just see them all and I kind of write them down and I do my best to answer all of them. I can't possibly answer all of them, but thank you guys for submitting. But I don't want you guys to be left with not getting your question answered if it has nothing to do with that topic. So please, if you're asking a question that has nothing to do with the topic, if I'm asking, go to the YouTube channel or go on Spotify and go and see if I've made an episode. I probably have talked about emotions. I probably have talked about content creation. I probably have like talked about these things. And I'm just saying that because I know some of you guys are new. Some of you guys don't know. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I think I only started recording the podcast visually at like episode 60 something. So you have all of those episodes leading up to then that are not on YouTube, that are on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So definitely go check them out because I have really, really good older episodes as well. I just wanted to say that. It's totally fine if you submit a question or whatever. Like I don't mind seeing them. I just don't want you guys to think that like, I don't want you guys to be left with needing advice on something when I actually have an episode that you just haven't seen, you know? Also, I've been seeing your reviews on the podcast and I just really, really appreciate it. The other day I got one and the main title or subheading was obsessed and she gave me 5 stars. So thank you so much. And also thank you for the reviews on my book. And if you have read my book, I would love it if you could leave me a Goodreads review. That would be fantastic. I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.